So you know how when you log into WordPress, you get that WordPress logo at the top? I'm going to show you how to replace that, which will basically take us from this to this. And I'm going to show you how to do it without using a plugin and how to leverage AI to write the code for you. It takes absolutely no coding experience. So obviously the first thing I'm going to do is log in to my WordPress website. And again, this is my live website at westoverweb.com. I'm going to jump into what's called the theme file editor. Now you may not see this theme file editor depending on how WordPress is set up. There's a couple of different ways to get to this area though. You can also install a plugin called WP File Manager that'll basically do the same thing. But since I've got the theme file editor enabled in WordPress, I'm going to jump into this. Now this is where it starts to look scary for most of you. Like most people see this and they immediately run the other direction. Say, this looks code, this looks scary. Well, listen, in the world of coding, first of all, you need to understand no code ever gets written perfectly the first time, right? Those of us who have been coding and developing for a long time even, like we may be experts and we still make these mistakes. So listen, don't be afraid of getting in and making mistakes and causing issues on your site temporarily. Now, to that end, I would highly recommend that you make a duplicate of your site and work through this code. Anytime you do any coding, really, work through it in that development environment, in that staging environment. And so, for example, on Pressable, all we have to do is go into our site and create a clone. We just simply type in, new site name. We want to clone it as a staging site, and it's going to duplicate our website, and then we'll be able to access that at a staging URL. It works exactly like our live website, and then we'll be able to go in and make these changes. So back in the theme editor, you'll notice that it says Divi Child Theme, and that's the theme that is active on my site. I have Divi, which is the core theme, and then a child theme on top of Divi. Now the reason I have that is so that I can do changes like this. Having that child theme allows you to get in and do all kinds of edits. So we're going to go to the Functions.php file, and you'll see it's mostly blank, but you see this message, add custom functions below, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to create a custom function, and actually Claude AI is going to create that custom function that's going to allow us to replace that login image in WordPress. So I'm over at Claude AI, and if you're not familiar with Claude, it's another language model, very much like ChatGPT. I like Claude a little better than ChatGPT for this kind of thing, just because Claude interacts with me a little better. I've kind of gotten used to how the prompts work, and ChatGPT is great too. You can do this exact same thing. So if you're more used to that, then use ChatGPT. So what I'm going to do is prompt Claude and tell it exactly what I'm doing, and he's going to give me the code I need. And so as you'll see, Claude created this code for us. And again, this looks a little bit scary to those who may not be familiar with code. Literally, all we're going to do is copy this code. And you can copy it with the little copy button at the bottom as well. And so we want to look and see here. It's got a custom login logo. We're going to replace that with an image that's actually on our website in our media library. So I'm going to jump back over to the file manager. We're going to paste our code directly in here under the Add Custom Functions, and we need to go ahead and grab that image URL. Now I'm just going to use the logo on my website. I'm just going to copy that image address, and then we'll go back here and paste that guy in there. Now you'll also notice it says logo width is 320, logo height is 80. Now that's going to be dependent on your logo. All right, so I'm going to make this a little bit wider. I honestly don't know that we need to establish the logo height there. I might have to do a little math and figure out what the height to width ratio is, but for now I'm just going to leave that off. And I'm going to just check through the code and make sure there's nothing else I need to replace. Yeah, so see it's echoing logo width and height there, so we're going to take the height out because I don't need that. Now, again, I kind of know what to look for here. If for whatever reason you didn't feel comfortable deleting those lines of code, you could simply tell Claude to do it. Just come back into Claude and say, I don't want to use a height for the image. And then Claude will go in and take that out for you. So see, now it has removed the height. It's removed wherever it needed to go. Yeah, right here, it took it out for you. So then you can copy that code. All right, so this all looks pretty good. So we're going to update this file. Now, you will notice I'm being a little bit of a hypocrite here. I'm doing this on my live website, but I'm pretty confident in this code. It's not going to crash anything. So I'm just adding it to my live site. And so now we need to log out. Okay, and then what you see is, well, yeah, there is the logo, but it's tiny. It's little bitty up there in the top right. And so again, remember when I said that most of the time when we create code, it's never right the first time we do it, right? Now, it did get the logo there. It replaced it, but something is just not right. Okay, the background size here says 500 pixels. Yeah, so looks like I did something wrong. So we're going to log back in. I need to see. Oh yeah, look right there. I didn't delete that line. It's just something I missed. Now, if you had used Claude like I suggested and got Claude to edit the code, that line would not have been there. So that's shame on me for editing the code like that. All right, we're going to log back out again and see what we got. Okay, and that's much better, but now the image is too large, right? Like we're walking through a story of Goldilocks here. Goldilocks and the logos. Too big, too small. All right, the background size now is 500 pixels. I can just kind of experiment with that and say, all right, we want that to be a little smaller. Maybe 300 pixels is all we need. I think that might have been what Claude said initially. And then we have the width as well. We need to change that down to 300. Yeah, I think that's going to look really good. There is some padding at the bottom that we just don't need. So I think this looks pretty good. So we're going to jump back in and do our edit. Yeah, so I'm going to take this padding completely out. And then it says the logo width is 500. We're going to change that to 300. It looks like it's setting the width and the background size to the same thing, which is fine. That's what we want. And I think that should be it. So we'll update the file, log out one more time. And there we go. We have our logo replaced. Now, if you wanted to adjust some of the spacing here, let's see. It looks like this link may have, some space. Yeah, has got a height parameter set on it. It's got some padding set in there. So yeah, there's some little things in there that you can always tweak in CSS. But again, don't be afraid to get Claude to do those things. So for example, now that we know a little bit more, we're going to say our image width needs to be 300 pixels. And then we're also going to say there is some white space below the logo that I would like to remove. So you're literally just telling Claude what you want, and then Claude is going to go in and adjust the code accordingly. So again, let's see what Claude did here. So logo width is 300. That was set as requested. Let's see. And he tells us what he did, which is cool. Set padding to 0, added margin bottom to remove any additional margin, added a new CSS for login form. Right, and that's going to target the WordPress login form, which makes sense. And let's see, let's just use Claude's code here. So again, back at the file editor, I'm just going to get rid of all the code we put in before, drop that in, and again, I'll have to drop in my logo image. Okay, so we'll drop this in, and then update the file. Now we logged out and the logo looks a little better, right? It's aligned, it's brought down, that gap is gone. And let's go just to the regular login screen and see what it looks like. Yeah, so this looks great. So we have successfully replaced that logo. And we didn't have to use a plugin. And that's really the whole point of this, is that we don't have to add another plugin to WordPress to do something which is basically simple. Now, obviously, if if you or I were going to write this code, this would take some know-how, but you see how easy it is to interact with some of these language models, these AI models, and how efficient they can make coding. I might have researched 30 or 45 minutes to try to find some code like this, and then would have had to do some troubleshooting and run things through debuggers and all that. Claude and ChatGPT just do this for you. It's very, very simple. Just to tell Claude what you want, it creates the code, and then you just have the task of making sure it works correctly on your site. So very simple to do this kind of things. And I'm going to be showing how to do some more with Claude and create some custom functions for WordPress that just it gives you so much power, so much ability, and we don't have to use those plugins and clutter up our site, slow our sites down, and cause issues potentially. So be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. We'll be posting more of these kinds of tutorials and others as we go.